Hello, everyone. My name is Tristan Wu, a junior at Adlai E. Stevenson High School in the United States. And today, our team will be presenting our project, Measuring Cultural Impact in Mental Health Concerns in Youth. Our research focuses on how culture affects young people, especially youth who grow up balancing more than one cultural environment. For example, a student in the US may be encouraged at school to speak independently, choose their own path, and express their personal identity. While at home, they may also be expected to follow family traditions, respect parental values, or prioritize academic achievement. These experiences can shape daily choices, identity, belonging, academic expectations, and emotional well being. Because of this, culture is not just part of someone's background, it can actively influence how youth think, feel, and make decisions. In this project, we wanted to create a way to measure that impact quantitatively. To do this, we developed a survey and two standardized scores that helped quantify both cultural influence and culture-related mental health concerns among US youth. I would like to briefly introduce our research team. Our student research team consists of 13 members from US high schools across different grade levels. Each team member contributed to different parts of the project, including survey design, outreach, data collection, analysis, and presentation preparation. In addition, our team is very proud to have received funding from the United Chinese Americans Community Foundation to financially support this project. The motivation for this project comes from the fact that multicultural and immigrant youth often live between different cultural expectations. For instance, a student may feel comfortable speaking English and expressing their opinions in public, but at home, they may be expected to speak their family's language, such as Chinese, Russian, Japanese, or Korean, while also following cultural traditions and avoiding openly disagreeing with their parents. This can make the student feel caught between two environments, especially when they want to fit in with others while also respecting their family's expectations. These cultural influences can be positive. They can create pride, connection, and a strong sense of identity, but they can also create challenges, especially when expectations conflict or when youth feel pressure to balance different parts of themselves. One issue is that schools and youth programs may recognize that culture matters, but they often lack a clear and simple tool to measure how culture affects daily student lives and well being. To address this gap, our team created the Youth Identity and Community Engagement Survey. From the survey, we developed two composite scores. The first is the Culture Impact Index, or CII. This measures how strongly culture shapes identity, values, behavior, and daily life. The second is the Mental Health Concern Composite, or MHCC. This measures cultural-related emotional strain, including feelings such as anxiety, sadness, anger, confusion, guilt, or coping responses like avoidance or help-seeking. The main contribution of our project is a reproducible scoring framework that measures cultural impact on a youth in a quantitative way. By converting survey responses into standardized scores, we make it easier to compare groups, identify patterns, and help schools, families, and policymakers become more aware of where culturally responsive support may be needed. Overall, our study treats culture not just as background information, but as an active force shaping youth development, identity, and mental health.
Hello, my name is Ella Yang, and I'm a rising junior at Barrington High School in Barrington, Illinois, USA. To better measure the role culture plays in youth identity and well-being, our team developed a data-driven survey questionnaire. The goal of this questionnaire was to capture a more complete picture of how culture influences young people's identity, behavior, sense of belonging, and overall well-being in their daily lives. We designed the questionnaire to examine both the positive and negative sides of youth cultural experiences. On one hand, we asked about positive cultural experiences such as cultural pride, belonging, and community participation. For example, some questions asked, how much pride do you feel in your cultural or ethnic heritage? And which activities make you feel most connected to your cultural identity? On the other hand, we also asked about cultural pressure, conflict, and emotional strain. For example, one question asked, how often do you feel conflicted when your family's cultural expectations differ from those of U.S. culture? Overall, our questionnaire included 5 main sections: demographics, identity, belonging and heritage, challenges, community engagement, and cultural conflict and mental health. Each section included 2 to 5 scaled questions measuring cultural involvement and cultural influence in youth's lives. We also included 2 open-ended questions to collect more personal experiences and stories from respondents. The full questionnaire can be accessed through the barcode and the link provided on this slide. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Justin Yang, and I'm a senior at Valley Christian High School in San Jose, California. Our study gathered key insights from 261 youth respondents across the country, diving deep into the experiences of today's students. To reach a diverse audience, we launched a nationwide electronic distribution, connecting directly with U.S. schools through digital platforms. We also paired this digital reach with grassroots community outreach, distributing paper surveys via flyers at Zinlan Northwest Chinese School to ensure localized and meaningful engagement. To understand how experiences shift over time, our study analyzed similarities between our respondents across 3 distinct age groups: middle schoolers, 13 and under, high school students, and those in college or above. Recruited through nationwide electronic school networks and targeted paper surveys at Zinlan Northwest Chinese School, this sample offers a unique lens into youth development. Crucially, we look at the impact of heritage, comparing first-generation immigrants with later generations to uncover deep insights into cultural and academic journeys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dean Hugh, and I'm a rising junior at Glenbrook North High School. Today, I will be discussing the 2 scores we used to analyze the data collected from our survey questionnaire. The first score is the Culture Impact Index, or the CII, which helped us measure how strongly culture influenced our respondents' daily lives. This included how culture shaped their daily choices, cultural pride, sense of identity, and possible tension with other people, such as their family or friends. To calculate the CII, we used 5 survey questions. Each question was served on a 5-point scale from 0 to 4, giving a total possible score of 0 to 20. A lower score indicated weaker cultural influence, while a higher score indicated a stronger one. We then standardized the score into a percentage to make it easier to interpret and compare across groups. The second score is the Mental Health Concern Composite, or the MHCC, which helped us examine whether cultural tension was actually connected to emotional strain. To calculate the MHCC, we used 2 survey questions. One question asked whether respondents had experienced negative emotions because of cultural tension, including anxiety, sadness, anger or frustration, confusion, and guilt or shame. The other question asked whether respondents had used coping actions to deal with this conflict, including avoidance or professional help seeking. Each negative emotion or coping action counted as 1 point, giving the MHCC a total possible score ranging from 0 to 7. A higher score indicated greater culture-related distress, while a lower score indicated less. This score was also standardized into a percentage for easier interpretation. We developed these 2 scores so that schools, policymakers, community programs, and research organizations would be able to compare different groups using actual measurable data. This makes it easier to identify which groups may need more focused support for challenges related to cultural identity and cultural conflict.
Hello, my name is Sarah Yang, and I'm a rising senior at Barrington High School, Illinois. Our results come from 2 different composite scores. The Culture Impact Index has a mean of 67.9%, which shows that there's a moderate to high culture impact on daily life, whether it's through identity or decisions. And our CII remains similar across all age groups and generations. If you look on the left bar graph, the blue bars represents the CII, and the blue bars for the 3 different age groups are all very similar, all around that 67.9% mean. And if you look on the right, the 2 different types of generations are also very similar, around our 67.9% mean. Again, all of them are very similar. And so that shows that our age groups and our generations all have a very similar culture impact index. And the culture impact index being similar means that no matter the age, no matter the generation, culture remains an important factor amongst all different people. And our MHCC, our mental health concern composite, is lower than the culture impact index, but that doesn't mean it's negligible. Our mean MHCC was 20.3%, which shows that there is culture-related emotional challenges that are present, and our MHCC increases the older they get. If you look on the left, the orange bar represents the MHCC. And as you get older, from middle school to high school to college and above, the orange bar increases. And so the mental health concern composite increases. And that could be because the more independent they get, the more mental health concern there is. And if you look on the right, the first generation has a lower MHCC than other generations, which means that it's possible that the more integrated into the American culture, the more culture impacts the mental health.
Hello, my name is Bryden Lee, and I'm a junior at William Fremd High School. To conclude, our study introduces a reproducible framework for understanding how culture shapes youth identity and mental well-being. Our key contribution was developing two indexes, the Cultural Impact Index and the Mental Health Concern Composite. These indexes allow us to standardize how we measure cultural impact and its effect on mental health. Our main finding was that culture plays a meaningful role in many youth's daily lives, and that a significant number also experience culture-related stress, pressure, and emotional strain. In terms of practical applications, these indexes allow schools and communities to identify support needs using quantifiable metrics rather than speculation. And this is especially important during key transitions, such as when entering college. Looking ahead, surveys like ours can be administered to students and community members to continuously assess emotional well-being and flag when mental health support may be needed.
Hello, I am Rachel Yang, a junior at Barrington High School. Moving into our future work, our primary goal is to strengthen the generalizability of our findings. Right now, our sample is primarily Asian. To build a more complete picture, we plan to expand our reach to youth from broader racial, ethnic, cultural, and geographic backgrounds. We hope to collect data across multiple states and distribute surveys directly through schools, communities, organizations, and local events. Next, we want to validate our measurement framework to improve the accuracy and interpretability of our results. Specifically, we will evaluate the reliability and validity of the CII and MHCC scales using methods such as factor analysis. This will help us test whether the survey questions actually group together in the way we intended. In simpler terms, we want to make sure that each individual question genuinely connects to the final score it contributes to. Finally, we hope to translate these findings into actionable support. By partnering with schools, community groups, and policymakers, we can raise awareness on how culture shapes youth identity, belonging, and mental health. Ultimately, the CII and MHCC results can help identify student groups who may be experiencing higher cultural pressure or emotional strain. Our goal is to turn this framework into a lasting resource for culturally responsive support.
We would like to thank each of our team members for their contributions to this project. We are grateful to Sealing Northwest Chinese School for supervising the research process and to the United Chinese Americans Community Foundation for providing funding and resources. We also appreciate NextGen Data and AI Institute, a nonprofit organization, for collaborating with us and offering valuable insights on survey data analysis. Finally, we thank Professor Jie Young from the University of Illinois at Chicago for his helpful statistical guidance and feedback. Thank you for all your attention and interest. And these are our references.